How many of you have been told at least once in your life, sit up straight? I know I have, by multiple different people, parents, grandparents, teachers, maybe even physiotherapists, chiropractors. And how long were you able to sit up straight for? If I give myself as an example, maybe 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds. But as soon as I stop thinking about sitting up straight, I go right back to where I was before. And I think for most people, it is the same. And I used to think that was just purely down to laziness or a lack of discipline. I think it's inherent for humans to have a bit of a lazy streak in us. But then as I've gone through my career, I started looking at posture from a completely different perspective, more from a nervous system perspective. And if you look at it through that lens, you'll understand why saying sit up straight is never going to work in the long run. Because your nervous system is organizing your body based on the environment around it. So it thinks that the position that you're in right now is the appropriate one based on what's happening around you. So an example I can give you, which I see like almost every single day in my office, a young woman came in her early 20s. She had just started an office job. She'd been through university and she was having problems with her posture. So she had changed her chair, got an ergonomic chair. She had got a standing desk, a sit-stand desk. She had made sure she had an ergonomic assessment to make sure that the monitors, her mouse and keyboard was all at the perfect height. She'd even set reminders on her phone to remind her to sit up straight and then go for a walk. And she even went as far as to get a posture harness and the zapper, so every single time she came forward, she got zapped. And despite doing all of those things and then going to see different chiropractors, physiotherapists, massage therapists, osteopath, acupuncturists, despite doing all of that, her body still kind of come back into this bad postural position. And again, I would say it's because of the way our nervous system is organizing everything. So we are trying to change the output without changing the input. So what I mean by that is sit up straight is an output instruction, but as I said, the nervous system is providing you with the perfect position it thinks you should be in based on what's happening around you. Think about it like this, if we give you the analogy of breathing. So when you're breathing and you want to slow breathing, you can consciously think about that and you can really start to slow your breathing down. But as soon as you stop thinking about your breathing, what happens? It immediately comes back to where it was before. And if we don't change the reason that your breathing is faster, then nothing's really going to change that. So we can think about this from an input perspective. Why are we breathing faster? So is it because we're anxious? There's something that's stressing us out and we can't resolve that, and so we start getting anxious and breathing faster because we keep thinking about that stressor? Or is it because we have some form of, let's say, an iron deficiency leading to less hemoglobin in our blood, so we have less ability to transport oxygen around, and because of that we have to breathe faster to get that oxygen delivery where it needs to go? Or is it something else? Is it purely that we're just not very fit and we're not really stressing our heart and our lungs at all with exercise, and so the default for us is going to be a little bit higher? Depending on what the issue is, if we change some of those things, then the likelihood is that output is our heart rate is going to drop down a little bit. And incidentally, if we think about breathing rate and heart rate are intimately connected, because if your heart starts to increase, your breathing rate starts to increase. If we think about joints that need to move 24/7, can anybody guess what they are? Well, it's our ribs, to not give you too much time, but our ribs. And essentially, the ribs at the top of the thoracic spine, so at the top of the rib cage up through here, so your first rib's actually really quite high, attaches to muscles of your neck, and that's involved in our breathing. So when we breathe faster, these muscles actually will tighten up, and that's what starts to pull our head forwards, is these breathing muscles. So there's actually a very intimate connection with breathing and posture. So if we can change some of the things that make us breathe faster, maybe we'll actually change some of the things that change our posture. So again, we're changing that input to change our output. Now, there's a study that looked at the autonomic responses of people with head forwards or head in a more normal position. So what I mean by that is, what is our nervous system doing automatically? So they measured the skin, and they found that people who were more forwards had more of what we call a sympathetic nervous system response, which is the fight, flight, or freeze response, as opposed to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest, and that's more of our relaxed state. So more in our stress state was more correlated with our head being forwards. And again, I'm extrapolating a little bit here, but the likelihood is that all of these things kind of come together. So our heart rate, our blood pressure, when we're in this more stressed out state, tend to go up because our body is reacting to the environment around us, and it's preparing for flight, fight, or freezing. And the way that we do that is we want to protect our vital organs and get everything ready for movement, essentially. And you might be like, well, what about freeze? And freeze is like the extreme version where you just don't think you win, so you just try and play dead, essentially. But again, you're still going to be in this tense and tight position. Think about this again for the next 24 hours. Every single time you receive an email from your boss that's asking for something immediately with a very, very short deadline, or you're in traffic or someone cuts you off while you're driving, think about the reaction that you have, or your toddler starts screaming, or your kids are messing around, or a relationship that's not going so well, and you're starting to have those interactions. What does that do to your body? Does your body feel nice and relaxed, or does your breathing rate increase? Does your hands start to tense? Do you start to kind of clench? Do your shoulders come up? Does your head tend to come forwards? Do you start to grind your teeth a little bit? Kind of think about that for the next 24 hours. And kind of, as I said, if we can change the input and make your nervous system feel safer, the likelihood is that you're going to change that output. But until we change what's coming in and we change the nervous system's inputs, then we're going to start to have these stress responses occurring. So on the next video, what I'm going to review with you is, what is it that our brain is constantly scanning for? Maybe the goal isn't to sit up straight, but to have your nervous system feel safe enough that that's the position it naturally adopts.